What if I told you you've confidently remembered something that never happened and you'd bet money on it? Not you forgot a detail, not you mixed up 2 days. I mean a full scene, a moment, a conversation, and the scary part, your brain didn't do it to prank you. It did it because it's doing its job. Today I'm taking you inside what I call the false memory factory. And before this video ends, I'm going to show you a quick way to stress test one of your strongest memories without needing a therapist, a lie detector, or a time machine. Your memory is not a video. Most of us treat memory like a recording. Hit save, store it somewhere in the brain, press play later. But that's not how it works. Memory is more like a factory that rebuilds the past every time you remember. And factories don't just produce truth. They produce whatever meets demand. Speed, meaning, emotion, consistency. So here's the plan. 1. I'll show you how the factory is built. 2. How it can manufacture memories that feel more real than real. 3. And how this affects relationships, internet arguments, and even courtrooms. And then we'll do the test, because once you see it happen in your own head, you'll never trust "I remember it clearly" the same way again. Imagine your brain runs a factory. At the front door, you've got raw materials, sounds, images, vibes, half-heard sentences, assumptions, that one weird smell in the hallway. Then it goes through departments. The meaning department. What's the story here? The emotion department. Was this scary, embarrassing, romantic? The logic department. Make it make sense. And my favorite, the ego department. Make me look normal. And when you remember, your brain doesn't pull out the original video file. It sends a new order down the production line. Hey, I need that memory again. Preferably in HD, with a clear villain, and please remove anything that makes me cringe. So the factory rebuilds it. Fast, confident, smooth. That confidence, not proof, it's customer service. Psychologists call this reconstructive memory. Every time you recall something, you're not opening a vault. You're rebuilding a scene using what actually happened, what you expected to happen, what you were told happened, and what would make the story make sense today. And here's the twist that messes people up. When you remember something, you also edit it. Then your brain saves the edited version as if it's the original. So the more you revisit a memory, especially if you talk about it a lot, the more chances the factory has to improve it. Let's talk about one of the most famous examples. Research by psychologist Elizabeth Loftus. In a classic study, people watched a car accident. Then they were asked questions like, how fast were the cars going when they hit each other? Or, how fast were they going when they smashed into each other? Same video, different word, and that one word, smashed, made people report higher speeds, and they were more likely to remember broken glass that wasn't even there. Read that again in your head. They didn't just change their opinion, they changed their memory. So if you've ever argued with someone who swears you said something you didn't, it might not be lying, it might be manufacturing. Another set of studies showed how easy it can be to nudge people toward remembering events that never happened, like being lost in a mall as a child. Not everyone falls for it, but enough people do that it's unsettling. Because if the brain gets a convincing suggestion plus a little imagination plus emotional detail, the factory goes, oh, we're making this now. Got it. And once it's produced, it comes with a label that says real. That's why false memories are dangerous. They don't feel fake. They feel like truth with a heartbeat. Now you might be thinking, okay, why would my brain betray me like this? It's not betrayal. It's a trade-off. Your brain evolved to help you survive, not to archive perfect footage. Perfect memory is expensive, slow, heavy, power-hungry. So your brain prioritizes meaning over detail, pattern over accuracy, speed over truth. Because in nature, if you hear a rustle in the bushes, it's better to remember danger lives there than to accurately remember it was specifically a 12-centimeter lizard named Kevin. This is where it gets personal. Have you ever had a fight where both people are dead serious like, "I remember it exactly"? No, you're wrong. I remember it exactly. And it gets worse when emotions are high, because emotion stamps memories with confidence, not accuracy. So one person remembers the tone, the other remembers the words, and both of you remember your own pain as evidence. That's how two good people can walk away thinking the other person is gaslighting them, when really, both factories are just producing different versions of the same event. And yes, sometimes people do lie, but sometimes they're sincerely holding a product their brain shipped them. Now add the internet, a headline, a clip with no context, a comment that says, "I can't believe he said this," and your brain goes, "Cool, we're building a memory of this person now." Then later you'll say, "I saw the full thing." No, you didn't. You saw a 9-second clip, a reaction, and 5 strangers screaming in all caps, "Congratulations, your factory just released a limited edition memory called I Was There." So how do you protect yourself from the false memory factory? You can't shut it down, but you can install quality control. Here are 3 tools. 1. Separate what happened from what it meant. Try saying, "I remember feeling disrespected," instead of, "I remember you disrespected me in that exact way." 2. Beware of confident details. The sharper and more cinematic the memory feels, the more likely it's been enhanced. 3. Don't rehearse uncertain memories like they're facts. Every retelling is a rewrite. If you're not sure, say, "I think," and keep it flexible. That one phrase can save friendships. Now, here's that stress test I promised. Pick a strong memory where you feel 100% certain. Maybe a childhood moment, a big argument, a first day somewhere. Now answer these questions without guessing. What was the exact date? What was the weather? What were 2 background sounds you can verify? What were you wearing from head to toe? What was the first sentence spoken, word for word? Most people can't answer these cleanly, and that doesn't mean the memory is fake. It means what you have is the story version, not the raw footage. Your factory kept what mattered and filled in what didn't. That's why 2 people can remember the same day, like it happened on different planets. Here's the final thing I want you to take from this. A false memory isn't always a lie. Sometimes it's your brain trying to protect you, simplify the world, and keep your identity consistent. So next time you hear, "I remember it clearly," don't treat it like a weapon. Treat it like a clue, because the past you're picturing in your mind might be a product, fresh off the line, stamped real, from the false memory factory. If you want, tell me in the comments, what's a memory you used to be sure about, and then later realized you might have gotten wrong? And if you want another episode like this, about how your brain can make you feel watched, or why deja vu hits like a glitch, subscribe, because we're just getting started.